to the Wednesday meditation service. Tonight we're going to do Satanama. Each time you close the mudra by joining the thumb with a finger, your ego seals its effect in your consciousness. So you're going to be doing this about that Sa-ta-na-ma. Visualize or feel each individual sound come into the crown chakra at the top of the head, down through the middle of the head, and out to infinity through the third eye. Sa is the beginning, infinity, the totality of everything that ever was, is, or will be. Ta is life, existence, and creativity that manifests from infinity. Na is change and the transformation of consciousness. Ma is rebirth, regeneration, and resurrection, which allows us to consciously experience the joy of the infinite. Satanama is so primal that its impact on our psyche is like splitting an atom. The power of this mantra comes from the fact that it rearranges the subconscious mind at the most elementary level. It has the power to break habits and addictions because it accesses the level of the mind where habits are created. Okay. Sa-ta-na-ma, 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 Sa-ta Sa
Good evening, everyone. The universe, which reveals all of life to us according to each person's understanding, has a basic nature of goodness. So the purpose of everything is to learn to express goodness. And we are given free will to do that. We have the ability to reflect upon our thinking and our actions and to see if we can bring forth a greater expression of goodness. And that happens to be what our purpose in life is all about. And we've had enough teachings to lead us along that path. I'm going to share one with you now, which should be one you know well enough. This is from the book of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 35 to 37. For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. The good person out of his good treasure brings forth good, and the evil person out of his evil treasure brings forth evil. I tell you, on this day, judgment is being rendered for every careless word they utter. For by your words you are exonerated, and by your words you are condemned. What it is saying is by our words, and really it means by our thoughts, because before we have words formed and spoken, they are thoughts, and it's relating to the thoughts of our heart. The good person out of the good treasure of his or her heart will bring forth good. Now the heart, if you've understood the scripture, represents the deeper awareness of the mind, which means that which we believe, our collection of beliefs, determine how we actually perceive life. And so, if we have opened ourselves to the reality of healing, peace, and love, forgiveness, we will actually be bringing forth that into life itself, certainly into the collective consciousness of humanity. So our goal is really to express goodness and discover how to do that in the best possible way. And that is why we have such teachings as that. You have to be mindful of that which you allow yourself to think, believe, and express. I know in the early stages of our existence, we don't have a great deal of mindfulness. We simply react to conditions and people and circumstances in whatever way we feel needed to react. And most of it is simply reacting to limited negative experience and creating more limited conflict and negative experience. But as we get on in life, we discover some insight into the fact that if we are able to be mindful of what it is we think and believe, we will then edit our thinking and our believing. We will be mindful enough to not just react to limited circumstances or negative circumstances in a negative fashion. We'll be mindful enough to rather bestow peace instead of conflict. This is so important because it will determine whether or not you will be whole and happy. Anyone who is still operating from the limited idea of an eye for an eye, you do this to me, I get this and get even with you. And then people hold grudges and revenge and have negative emotions about those that did things to them, that interfered with their life and their desires. All of that is part of the insanity of the world. Today, many people are disturbed, quite genuinely upset with the wars taking place in our world. Watching mass murder taking place on a huge scale, it simply jars us because our true nature is of the universe, goodness. And we can't feel any goodness in that. But it is not necessary for us to become overly disturbed or allow ourselves to become angry and upset at the things that are taking place in the world, mostly in the world right now beyond our own country. We can't do anything about those wars. Those mass murders, we can't do anything about them. We may decide to pray, send peace, or in some cases, maybe even send a donation of some kind for some worthy cause in trying to assuage the difficulty, but then let it go, because that's part of the insanity of the world. And our goal is to bestow goodness, and we cannot bestow goodness unless we have peace of mind. And here's the catch. Peace of mind, as we once understood it in the limited thinking of the world, had to do with getting things to meet our personal expectations, our desires, our demands. Whenever that happened, we would have peace of mind. So we sought to make that happen, to find ways to control people and circumstances so that they would be required to meet our personal expectations. This is what many of the leaders in the political system are about. This is what they think. And certainly there's a couple of them you can't help ignore, because they absolutely live in that idea. I am going to gain enough power to have control over everything and everyone so that they will do things the way I want them done. That, of course, is simply an overt expression of insanity. And what we are attempting to understand as we go on this spiritual journey is how to be mindful enough to alleviate that negative conditioning that creates conflict, fear, anger, guilt, and war. We think and we move in mindfulness so that we don't allow ourselves to be harboring negative ideas, feelings, and thoughts. We are actually training ourselves to be aware when the mind is bringing forth negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions. We catch ourselves in doing that. We can pause and say, what is really making me feel this limited feeling, these negative emotions? what is making me feel that way right now? And just by shining the light on that, by going deeper, you may not even know on the outset why you're, reflecting this negative feeling and emotion. But if you check within, it'll become pretty apparent why you are holding some type of negative emotion or negative thoughts. And then you can alter that by deciding, I could express peace instead of this. I could experience peace instead of this. And all I have to do is want to express peace and to experience peace. And I can let those thoughts and emotions go. I can let them go. That's our calling, by the way. Many people spend a long time trying to get the world to suit their personal perspective. And then in the end, they realize there's no way. And they never really have, in all of that they attempt to do in the world, trying to control the conditions and circumstances outside, being upset because they can't get them all to be the way they want them to be. We get to that place where you awaken to the fact that one has to be mindful in order to bring forth that true peace. Most people in that outer-directed, illusion-driven, conflict-oriented idea of life never know true peace. They have moments of peace when some things may be going according to the plan they had, but eventually that plays out. And their relationships, they worked for a while, but don't work out in the end. If you want relationships to work out, you have to be mindful. You have to become an emissary whose goal in life is to be at peace. In other words, if you are at peace, you must also have understanding. In other words, you have arrived in the enlightened awareness that it's not happenstance. True peace doesn't come by accident. It comes by allowing the mind to awaken that it really doesn't want to hold negative thoughts and express negative emotions. And you do this by being mindful. And then you start to really see how you can choose to enjoy true peace. That you have mastered your life. I know at first we thought mastering life really had to do with mind over matter. The surface New Age teachings embody all of that mind over matter stuff. Just make treasure maps for the things you want. Set a definite idea of what you want to get from the world and pursue that. That's probably pretty good stuff, because people who are hanging out in the initial state of consciousness are still looking to get what they think will make them free and at peace and happy. So when they see that on the spiritual journey, you simply have to set your intention. Set the intention that you want. And of course, that intention, they think, is all about getting those things from the world that I've always been seeking. But now I do it by setting my intention, keeping my mind on it, and then I bring it forth into my experience, and then I have peace, I have happiness, I have love and joy. Here's the truth about that. No intention that is not love-backed will ultimately prevail to bring peace. You can set your intentions all over the place. You may even gain some of the things you've set your intentions for, but they will not fulfill you. So your intentions have to be love-backed, because love is the only attracting power. You can't force the universe to do what you're expected to do. You can only love into the things you'd like to see transpire. Love-backed intentions ultimately will bring healing, peace of mind, and happiness. If your intentions are just simply ego-centered, personal desires to make the world work according to your projections, it will fail. It will fail you, and ultimately you'll have to redecide to be mindful and choose peace. So people say, how do you do that? I mean, Edgar Casey made it pretty simple regarding life. Could you do this? This is what he said to do. Find no fault, harbor no envy, and no resentment. That's it. That's the Edgar Casey how to be good. Find no fault, harbor no envy or resentment. So, we have all of this being taught to us through the masters and down through the ages. And so it is about our inclinations from our collection of beliefs. I think you can see it's pretty obvious. Are you more inclined to like someone who holds a positive outlook about you, or someone who holds a negative outlook about you? Well, it's pretty obvious that you're more inclined to be considerate of someone who's holding a positive outlook of you. But because all minds are in communication, you have to be aware of the fact that any negative outlook you're holding about anyone, and this is what we do in the outer directed illusion-driven world. There are those who we like, kind of be okay and let them alone, and those we like, all right, and those we like a lot. But all of that is illusionary, based on your personal perception and life itself and your experiences. But if you want to see life transform in your experience, if you want your relationships to transform, you have to transform your outlook, and you do this by transforming your in-look. So you're mindful enough to not have anything going on within your mind that you wouldn't want someone having going on in their mind toward you. See, it's a pretty simple setup because the world is reciprocal. If we really want to have friends, we have to hold friendly thoughts and be friendly ourselves. If we want to have peace, we need to hold thoughts of peace and be peaceful and bestow peace in what we do. If we want to have love, we need to be mindful of love and bestow love. And then we will begin to see it in all that we look at around us. All that we look at around us will ultimately honor what it is we believe within. This is what the spiritual journey is all about. Requires introspection, which is a form of mindfulness. Be mindful about what you allow your mind to be thinking. Just be mindful. Say, oh, wait, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't need to do that. Okay, this person seemed to do that, and looks like she's getting away with it, but why should I allow that to influence how I feel? And so I'm going to discharge that. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to forgive it, and I'm going to, say, well, it belongs to the madness of the world. It's not mine. I don't need that anymore. I don't need to have confrontations with anything anymore. I simply am here to bestow peace and to bless and to feel joy and love. And if I do that, and I'm mindful to not allow thoughts that are in opposition to that to enter my mind and my life, I will become an emissary of the will of God, because that is the will of God, that we should be good, beautifully good. The universe wants us to be good. It allows us to reflect and to alter our thinking and our actions so that we find out how wonderful it feels to just be good and live in that consciousness. So here's A Course in Miracles, text 187, and in the new editions on page 202. Most of you have the new edition, by the way. If your brothers are part of you, that is, your brothers and sisters are part of you, and you blame them for your deprivation, you are blaming yourself. And you cannot blame yourself without blaming them. That is why blame must be undone, not seen elsewhere. Lay it to yourself, and you cannot know yourself, for only the ego blames at all. Self-blame is therefore ego identification, as much an ego defense as blaming others. You cannot enter God's presence if you attack His Son. And of course, His Son is everyone. I'm going to read that again. It's pretty clear. It's explaining the truth about the enlightened level of consciousness. If your brothers and sisters are part of you, and you blame them for your deprivation, you are blaming yourself. In other words, if you're not feeling right, you think somebody's actually done something that's making you angry, upset, even vengeful, here you go, is your opportunity either to be divine in expression or lost again in the world of insanity. So here it is. If your brothers and sisters are part of you, and they are, and you blame them for your deprivation, you are blaming yourself. And you cannot blame yourself without blaming them. That is why blame must be undone, not seen elsewhere. So it's saying to us again, any type of blame that's being harbored in your consciousness has to be undone. There's no justification for it except the fact that you'll still think you can do something that's going to make you feel, vindicated. You got it done. I finally got over on that person or taught them a lesson. That just on a larger scale is what's happening in Israel right now. That's just what I said just then. Put that on a larger scale, and you have the lunacy that's taking place in Israel. So all of that can be avoided. All of that can be healed. And you heal everything, the collective consciousness of humanity, as you yourself become mindful not to embrace such thoughts of blame yourself. So lay it to yourself. If you lay blame to yourself, you cannot know yourself, for only the ego blames it all. Self-blame is therefore ego identification, and as much an ego defense as blaming others. You cannot enter God's presence if you attack His Son. It's pretty simple. God's presence, by the way, is that awareness, that consciousness of joy and peace that we are really all seeking. Everyone is seeking that. Even the illusion-driven world, everyone in it doesn't know it, but they're seeking the joy, peace of mindful awareness. That's simply it. That's it. They never know it until they decide to try something on faith that's different. Try a different way of going instead of operating by reacting to conditions and circumstances outside of you all the time in a negative fashion, trying to make sure your personal ego idea of things is carried out. That's the insanity. That's what's taking place in Israel. That's what Putin is trying to pull off in Russia. He's trying to make insanity real, that it can actually bring forth peace, happiness, and joy. Never happened, can never happen. Anyone that wants peace, love, and joy, wants that, then must take his or her consciousness to task and practice mindfulness, so that whenever negative emotions, negative thoughts are rising, no longer give in to them. Simply realize within yourself, I could experience peace instead of this. I could express peace, because I could express forgiveness, true forgiveness, which means I'm letting it go. I'm not blaming anything or anyone. I see it as an error in consciousness, and it's not an error I need to embrace. I'm letting it go, and I am going to choose peace and live peace. What I said to you in this last 25 minutes is all there is to true religion. There is no other religion. So we're going to meditate together, because meditation is one of our spiritual practices. Take a couple of deep breaths. With each breath, just realize that in the universe, the whole creation of life, you are accepted. Doesn't matter what you may have done in the past or thought in the past, or what have you done today or done that is not in keeping with acceptance and healing and peace. Doesn't matter. It's all your choice. There is no condemnation that comes from any force. For God and this universe is the expression of love. And ultimately, if everyone or anyone wants to be one with that expression, they will come to a life truly worth living. So, you are already accepted totally. You are already loved. There is nothing you can think or do that's actually going to cause any type of negative reaction to come to you, except by virtue of those that you're holding that negative idea about. Let it go. Be still and know right now that you can be emissaries of light and love. Just breathing. Just breathing is a miracle. Remembering to breathe when you're beginning to experience negative thoughts or emotions. Remember to breathe. Just breathe in and out. Because by breathing and giving your awareness to the breathing aspect, you are moving toward peace. Just breathing is a miracle. Breathing is a mantra. Breathing is a pathway to the divine consciousness of God. Just breathing, remembering to breathe whenever limited conditions arise on your path. Remembering to breathe, just breathe. And as you breathe, realize breathing is a miracle. It's a mantra. It's a prayer, a pathway into the consciousness you share with God. Breathing is a pathway in consciousness you share with God. Breathing is a miracle. Take a moment now to image the breath that comes into you as the etheric light, the divine light of life, entering your body as though your body were a complete vacuum. This divine light enters your body from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. And as you release the breath, release this fine light. Release it through the pores of your body so it carries away any inharmony. Breathing in the refined golden light of life. Feel it filling your body from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. Releasing the light through the pores of your body into the world. Breathing in the refined golden light of life. Feel it filling your body from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. Releasing the light into the world through the pores in your body. Breathing in the refined golden light of life. You feeling buoyant. You feeling free. You're feeling the wholeness of being with everything that lives. For you allow this breath of life to fill your awareness. Breathing in the refined golden light of life. You're feeling buoyant and free, whole, at peace. Knowing the truth that has been spoken down through the ages. You are the light of the world in which you live. Let your light so shine that others may experience that divine experience of peace and love. You are the light of the world. Let your light so shine that others may experience the peace you share, the joy, the love, the healing. Just breathing in the refined golden light of life and breathing out through your pores, feeling buoyant, feeling free, remembering to breathe. It is a prayer, it is a mantra, it is a pathway to the awareness of the divine. Be still now. Acknowledge your breath as a pathway to peace. Be still. Acknowledge your breath as the pathway to peace. Be still. Acknowledge your breath as the pathway to peace. in this refined level of awareness, we will offer the names of those who have been submitted to our prayer list. As Norma calls the name, just let the feeling of love go to that name.
Andrew, Jean Cooney, Eric Cooney, Ramona Matteo, Vladimir, Kara, Mirza and family, Aidan Halloran and family, the Halloran family and the father, Faye Russell, Tanya and Devon White and children, Bruce and Anna Fletcher, Pamela Fletcher, Harry S., Prince Charles, Kendall Harper, Rowan Harper, Pat Johnson, Sandy Spahn, David and Layla Naranjo, Alice, Rodney, Amy Howe, Zeke, Wilma Gomez, Chris, Anna, John and Noah Howe, Phyllis Naranjo, Alyssa Jansen, Deb King, Cintisha, Bronwyn Toder, Raylan Toder, Madison Bear, Marlene Neeson, Robin Neeson, Andrew and Lolo and baby, Jeffrey Lockwood, Janine and Brandon, Carmen, Judy B.S., Elaine McCarthy, Michael Naki, David McCarthy, Deborah Stein, Robin, Elena, Alyssa and Paul, Stacy, Michaela Wolf, Charlotte Ingold, Polly Ingold, Jacqueline, Kelsey, Matt, Kabira, Shahana Jasmine, Jim and Judy Dunkley, Augie, Rachel Ray and Ryan, Joshua and Oceana and Lemon, the puppy, Pony, Pemba Sherpa, Robert F. Kennedy, Sally, Elijah Sikora, Sue H., Kelsey and Pixie, Tatum Martell, Pat Johnson, Wendy and Amelia, Lydia and Jim, Laura and Mark and baby, Cassie, Pamela K., Anthony, Mel, Mama D., Chris, Dad Anthony, Peg, Maura, Paul, Jeff, Kim, Carla, Moonrocks, Donnie, Christine, Aunt Marilyn, Amanda, Justin, Josh, Kath Solier, Madison Bear, Lori Martell, Jeremy, Melinda, John F., Bonnie E., Cynthia M., Connie P., Helene D., Renee H., Foster, Jennifer H., Mary S., Christy C., Chris G., Catherine G., Michelle M., Craig Simpson, Loie Simpson, Debbie Renville, Jimmy Renville, Marche Mitchell, Brett Renville, David White, the Ukrainian soldiers captured by Russia. You can call out a name at this time. We see this healing box surrounded by light and all the people's names that have been submitted throughout the month. We see them healed physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Let's take a moment now to embrace the vision of the new heaven in the new earth. We see this awareness, this mindfulness of true peace rising in the consciousness of everyone sharing the Boulder community with us. And we see this consciousness of true peace rising in the awareness of everyone sharing the state of Colorado with us. And this divine awareness rising in the consciousness of everyone sharing these United States of America with us. And this divine awareness rising in the consciousness of everyone in every nation throughout the world, in every culture, in every race, rising in the realization of the interconnectedness of all life and all life being of God. As we pray, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and God is love. To this we say, Amen. We will take an offering for unity now. As we take our offerings in our hands, we can bless them with this offering prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And so it is.
Spread, spread over us wings of your peace. Spread over us wings of your peace. For with you is the source of light. In your light do we see light. For in you is the source of light. In your light do we see light. We see light, we see light, we are light.
Join me now, please. We dedicate this tithe to the will and the work of the Spirit of truth and to the victory of the Spirit of truth. Amen.
Choir is meeting tomorrow at 6:30 downstairs in the middle room, and you're welcome to come. It's really very simple music that I'm picking, but very inspirational. And it's a great chance to meet people. You'll know them better than most people you would ever meet. They're funny. We have a lot of fun. And all ages are welcome. So that's at 6:30 down in the middle room.
Well, I guess we'll see you all on Sunday.
We have refreshments in the bookstore, and the bookstore is open. And we really like you to meet one another because these are the most incredible people that come. So we'll be there in a few minutes ourselves, but you can go right into the bookstore. Thank you.
Have a beautiful night, everyone.